All right, here we go. Let's see if this one works. Thanks for popping over to a new Convo. Leonardo, here we go. Let's try this. Here we go. This is it. All right, what do you think? Are we delayed again?
I'm a little delayed on my end. Can you hear me?
What is going on tonight? I don't think it's gonna work, man.
See if I can log in on Firefox.
We're trying, guys. StreamYard's not working. That's what we're using. We're using StreamYard.
Hang on.
We'll see if it works tonight.
Let me see if I can get in on Firefox.
I know we lost a lot of people.
My internet.
They're probably like, where did they go? Armando, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Armando, you guys still slinging some tacos? Is everything cutting out? Me and him? Ashley, thanks for hopping back over. McKinley. Jason's here. Greet your neighbor, folks. Greet your neighbor time. We're getting it squared away. I think Leonardo's trying to hop over to Firefox. See if that works any better. See, what do you guys want to listen to? Maybe I can throw some music up. Aguas frescas. All right, man. Where are you selling those? I need some of those, Armando, for sure. I need to get some.
It's being really slow.
I got a joke. Chad, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Ashley. I can't. Everybody get to know your neighbor. Thanks, Jason. Jason, you must work in on the church, the church staff. Like, get to know your neighbor. Let's have some community time. Everybody in here. Here, I'm gonna ask a question.
What is going on?
What in the comments? We did a chat yesterday. What was your favorite childhood toy? What was your favorite childhood toy? Put that in the comments. While we're getting this thing squared away. Technical difficulties. You know what would make this not a problem is if I just flew Leonardo out here and we just hung out in San Antonio. We're just gonna make that happen. Nice. Ashley asked, how long have I been a pastor? So I did youth and young adults ministry for about a little over 4 years. And now at the Arsenal, I've been a lead pastor for just under 4 years. So about 8.5, almost 9 years total. Been trying to figure this thing out. It's a daily lesson of learning what am I doing here. But it's been awesome. So yeah, that's how long I've been pastoring. Jason, you're at Hillsong. Yeah, you guys have good equipment though. I'm sure most of the time it's pretty good. But Jason, which Hillsong are you at? Are you in Australia? Or are you here in the States? You guys seem to have it figured out when it comes to equipment. But Jason, you you know this as well as I do. Like if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, right? Like no matter what. Leonardo, what do you think, man? You doing all right over there?
I'm doing okay, just a little delayed here. Can't hear you anymore.
One World Music. Do you actually have time to check all Leonardo's reaction videos or just selectively? Are you asking? If you're asking me, I've watched pretty much all of them. Maybe not every single one, but most of them. I try to catch his premieres when I can, and then even on Instagram, I've seen some of the Instagram lives that he's done premieres. So I watched quite a few of them. So I have definitely kept up. I think I started following Leonardo on YouTube when he had like 800 subscribers. So best friend. Jason, Cape Town, South Africa. Oh wow, like you know what? I forgot they had a branch there. That's incredible. Super cool. Text the code. All right, I will text you the code, Leonardo. Let me see. I have to do it all kinds of weird ways. I text it from my computer. What was that? It's my peeling out.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. If you heard that, then that's not that delayed anymore.
No. Yeah, I can. I mean, I can
You
hear
hear?
your movements are just super delayed.
Oh, never mind.
Audrey's in Fort Collins, Colorado. Beautiful, beautiful area.
Oh, because my. Oh, all right. Never mind.
Is it still delayed? All right, I just texted you the link. Well, sorry guys. This was good. I'm telling you, this is gonna be the best conversation ever in technology. I even made coffee and everything. Mickey said it reminds me of dial-up internet. Little AOL. We got this. We got this. Otherwise, we're just gonna hop on our phones and go do some
I'm in.
Instagram live. I don't think you're in, man. You're in the old one. Oh. I don't know where he went. What do you... Here we go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, here we go.
Boom. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Nice.
Now we're talking.
It looks like Samsung saved the day. No laptop.
Oh, there
Samsung.
it is.
It's that Galaxy S10 Plus. It's that Plus, I think.
That Android.
It's that
Got
Plus
it.
that I think is doing it.
Now this has got to be an incredible conversation because I mean these people they hung out. They worked through all the technology problems and everything. So he's alive. Oh, this is awesome.
Set this up real quick.
There we go.
All right, cool. It says you're in the show.
You are in the show.
I'm in the show.
We made it. We've had some good questions.
I can't see any of the comments. So, all right, cool. What are the questions?
Oh, you can't see comments. All right, we'll figure it out.
It's all right.
Oh, yeah, Ashley was asking. Oh, she was asking me. Can you see that when I pop the question up? Can you see it on your phone?
Yeah. I see
Do you have a favorite worship band? I do. I would say probably my favorite worship band, which is it's funny because Leonardo's done a ton of their songs, but Hillsong United is definitely one of my favorites. I think theologically, I like where they're at. I line up with them a lot on kind of what they talk about and what's in their lyrics, and then just musically, it really suits where I'm at. I like it. I also like they're not technically. Oh my bad, My wife is reminding me Arsenal Music, which is our Arsenal worship team. Which they would be my favorite if they would actually start writing some songs. But right now they haven't written any. But
Oh, it's just a cover band.
soon we're working on it. Don't call them that. I got in trouble when I called them that. So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
but no, we Mrs. Chad firing shots. Yeah, so no, they're incredible. They're definitely some of my favorite people in the world. So I love them. But yeah, we need to write some songs. But yeah, I like Hillsong United. I like Mosaic. I think Mosaic's got some really cool stuff, kind of cool style. And then like an offshoot, I like Citizens, or Citizens and Saints. I like some of their stuff too. So yeah, that's where we're at. Leonardo, have you done any Mosaic yet?
No, I haven't done any Mosaic yet.
I dig Mosaic. They got some cool stuff.
There've been a lot of requests for it, but I'm not sure if I checked to see whether or not they're going to be blocked. But I'll check today.
Yeah, check them.
I have to,
because they're in LA, and they actually have some stuff that they do English and Spanish. So
cool.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. Let me see if I can. Jason said, "Do you guys prefer Hillsong United over Hillsong Worship?" I do personally. I think I just like Hillsong United's style a little bit more. So, what about you? Have you done any Hillsong, Leonardo?
I've done some Hillsong worship, but Taya's not in it, so
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tay is not typically with Hillsong worship. Yeah, that. And then, have you heard any Young and Free yet?
No, I haven't. I have not.
So Hillsong Young and Free is like their younger band. I think.
Let's see.
Yeah, so they've got their stuff is much more poppy, I guess you would say, like younger style. And so they've got some super cool stuff, but we do some of their songs, but they're pretty young in their style. So
that makes sense.
Doesn't always work. Yeah, man. So all right, we made it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great now that my Samsung came and saved the day. I get to show off. I get to brag a little bit.
Right. Oh, that you probably did that on purpose. You sabotaged your computer just so you could brag about your Samsung. But it is kind of a bummer you can't see the comments though. Most of them are coming in through YouTube, so
I can see. Yeah, I can see the YouTube on my screen.
Okay. Yeah, that's where most of them are at. If there's if there's like Facebook ones, I'll throw them up. But that most of them are on YouTube. So
Jose says Leonardo looks like all of us having to learn how to do video conferencing after COVID-19.
For sure. Yeah. Like, how does this work? Yeah. Oh man, there's been some terrible fails too. Have you seen any of those?
No.
You know what? I was watching a video last night on YouTube and I was like, oh man, Leonardo should totally do some reactions to these videos. And what it is have you heard of worship fails?
Oh, I saw a thumbnail for one where like the cross was like falling in the back.
Yeah, that's a good one. But there's so many where like something just like this, like something like technologically goes wrong or something like somebody's like there's something's wrong on their guitar, and so they're like totally in the wrong chord, and then the worship leader's like looking around like, what is going on? Oh man, there's one where like they're playing and this dude, like a drummer, I think later they talked about, they're like, oh, he's just a guy that hadn't really played with us much, but he just I think it's the Ocean's drummer. I think it's that one. He like goes off, just like goes on this like run in the middle of the song, and it's like, what is going on? So there's some good ones. I think that would be fun for you.
I think he was just feeling the spirit, probably.
He was feeling the spirit for sure.
We don't know what spirit that was, but
no. Can you imagine? I mean, you've heard Oceans now a few times, right? Can you imagine a drummer just going on a roll in the middle of Oceans, just
it's like Lars coming in with Master of Puppets in the middle.
I think you got to do one. I think it would be fun. Just
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
I need to just find one and make it look like a video, like just a regular song video, and send it to you. So you're reacting to the song, and all of a sudden you're like, "What just happened?" Oh, Ashley said the keyboard. There's one where the guy's like on stage. It's like a conference or something. There's a ton of people there, and he's like playing, and all of a sudden the keyboard just like falls off the stand, and he's like trying to pick it up. Oh, it's funny.
No.
Oh
that's
man.
horrible. What do you have like a guilty pleasure like on YouTube? Something you like to watch that you probably shouldn't be watching? Nothing inappropriate, but like for me, I like watching like street fights.
Yeah, I don't think I do. Like, I mean, Worship Fails is probably one of them. Just watching people and mess that up. But I don't. When I'm on YouTube, I'm usually trying to figure something out that I don't know how to do. Like like anything and everything. But dude, I don't know if you saw it. I just did a if I can log. Let me see if I can do this. I tried this the other day. Can you see this? Do you see that light that I've got there?
Yeah, there's a really expensive light that's kind of.
It's not really expensive. It's dude, I got a light and I ordered the wrong one. It's 48 inches in diameter. In my little bitty office, it is humongous.
You're doing like car photography, or
basically, I don't know. It's weird, but this is what happens when I get on YouTube and I start researching stuff, and I'm like, I need that, and then I buy it, and
you need everything. Dude.
I need everything. That's my guilty habit, is finding stuff that I like. What's that? Pizza Hut stolen cup?
It's not mine, I swear. I know that everybody says that, but I was just in the kitchen. I grabbed it. It just happened to be stolen. I didn't know it was stolen.
Yeah, it works. You probably worked there and just brought it home. It was like a gift. No,
oh, no. If I worked at Pizza Hut, I would be so much heavier than I am right now.
All right, that was one of my first jobs. I worked at a pizza restaurant and I made pizzas, and it was not good. But
not cool.
It was fun, but yeah, it wasn't good. So let's talk about this.
All right.
We haven't talked in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think the last time you were on, I want to say that you. Yeah, like maybe 12,000 subscribers, maybe. I think you'd hit 12,000-ish on YouTube. And now in 2 weeks, you've added an extra 10,000 people to that. You're at 22,000 subscribers.
23, but who's counting?
Oh, 23. I'm sorry.
I just hit 23 while we were waiting.
I mean, we're coming for you, man. We hit 1,000 subscribers today, so
awesome.
Just better watch out. Here we come.
Bring it, fool. I ain't scared.
Let's be honest. Those 1,000 subscribers, like 900 of them are because they watch your stuff, and you're like, hey, you should go follow Pastor Chad's stuff. So I appreciate you.
Maybe.
I owe you big for that. I'll send you a hat.
2 hats now. Is that 2 hats, or is that the same hat?
I'm gonna get you. Like, here's a Graybird hat. It says SATX on it. So where I can't figure out which finger's which, but there we go.
That one, that one.
I'll get you a Graybird hat. This is shameless plug. It's a buddy and I did this company, so
cool.
But I'll send you one. I got you.
Awesome.
I'll buy it. That way we donate every time we sell a hat. We donate $3 from every hat goes to a local nonprofit that works with sex trafficking victims. So
cool.
So I got you. I'll send it.
I mean, not cool to sex trafficking. That's horrible, but cool that you're donating.
Yeah, man, it's a good cause. So we haven't done much with it lately because we're pastors and it's been crazy. But yeah, I'll get you one. I got you. We got some questions on here. Let me grab this. So Ryan Hicks says, "What is the hardest instrument you know how to play?" I'm gonna go ahead and assume that he's asking you because the hardest instrument I know how to play is like air drums. Like I can air drum. That's about it. So what's the hardest?
I think drums. Like I have one now, but I'm like sticking to the basics, Yeah. I'm just like I'm just doing that little simple beats. But yeah, it's really hard to coordinate my foot to bring my foot into the equation. So I can do, hand stuff fairly easy, But once I bring in that foot, it's over.
That's how I am. I've tried to learn drums. Like I tried to like try it, and I can't figure out the foot thing.
Yeah.
Like I can do
you
hands
just
all
gotta take
day,
it-
but it's that foot. I start like banging my foot like double time, and I can't just like keep it steady.
Yeah, me too. I think it's because I wanted to start off with Incubus song, and maybe I should slow it down if I don't know how
Yeah,
to play
maybe
yet.
slow it down a little bit. Kara Love said, "What's the easiest instrument to pick up from scratch?"
The kazoo.
The kazoo. Yeah.
There's really no real skill needed. Just unless you don't know how to hum, and in which case the triangle would probably be a lot easier.
In which case, the triangle. Is a ukulele easy to play? I feel like it might be like a no.
Yeah, I mean it depends.
I need to find an instrument. Like by the next time, or like maybe 2 times from now when we have 2 more conversations, maybe I can at least like play something. Like I used to be able to play like the recorder.
Yeah, that's probably one of the
That's it.
Well, I think of like if you're in a band, I think the easiest start would probably be a tambourine. Someone says, Jason. Yeah, Jason.
A tambourine.
No, probably like a serious, just like start a band type of instrument. Probably the keyboard, because the keys repeat every 7, every 7 keys.
Yeah.
You repeat, and it's just a matter of just memorizing the fingerings, the chords, and getting yourself coordinated, playing bass, and then playing all the other parts with your fingers. But
do you play keys?
I do not. Very little. Like I know all the major chords, some of the minor chords, some of the 7th chords. But my daughter, she's teaching herself. One day,
could
she
you
just
learn? Because we need a keyboard player in our arsenal music.
Don't you already have one?
Casey will play every once in a while, but he's not like a keyboard player. Like we need somebody who can play keys.
Oh, okay.
So
I mean, I have keys in my car that I know.
Also,
how to turn,
are you willing to move to San Antonio to do that? Come on, man.
I heard it's really hot over there, man, and humid. 50% humidity? Come on.
Nah, it's not that bad. You get used to it. You stay in the AC. Like, why be outside?
Well, it's kind of like where I live now.
Myra Martinez, what's the organization? Are you talking about Graybird? So it's Graybird Capco, or if you're talking about the local organization that we donate to, it's an organization called Ransomed Life. Ransom Life. So they work with young women, actually typically teenagers, so 17 and younger, that have been rescued from sex trafficking. And so they do mentoring and teaching them life lessons and getting them back in. So
that's great.
It's a really cool organization. But
maybe add the link. Maybe add the link in the bottom after this video is done.
We can do that. I can throw that in there for sure.
Cool.
Hey, Brittany knows what we're talking about. She says it's Graybird. Their hats and shirts are fire. They're cool. I mean I designed them, so I feel like they're good stuff. But TC said, how are the drum lessons coming for Luna?
They're not.
They're not.
No, she's at mom's house, so she's gonna be. I'm gonna pick her up tomorrow.
You're not touching her drum set, are you?
We'll continue. Of course.
Don't touch her drum set.
No, I'm not. I got it now. No, I'm not touching the drum set. No, but yeah, she's. Yeah, the other day I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get it on there. I put on the headphones and I put on some Incubus, and I was just trying to play something. I'm pretty sure the neighbors hated it, but
aren't they electric?
Yeah, but the music is here, but the sound is loud.
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
I have it on the speaker. I could put it on my headphones. I guess what I could do is probably put the earbuds in my ear, play the music, and then this on top of the earbud.
Oh, I got you're listening to music and trying to play with it. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there a way in the drums to plug in like a music source?
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Maybe.
I think our electric drums has that option here.
Oh.
So if you want to come use our drum set, you can come use our drum set.
Something tells me you just wanted me to get to Texas.
Come on, man. I mean, how cool of a story would that be? Like, we met on YouTube and you moved out here to come play. We met on YouTube. you put up songs about reactions as a non-Christian, and then you came out here to work for a church. And
I could see it now. Pastor Chad buys a house for Leonardo so that he can go.
wait. You said you gotta remember pastor. Like I ain't got that kind of coin, bro.
I had a talk yesterday with someone, and I gave you a doctrine. I said, Dr. Chad.
Basically. That's
And I was like, wait a minute, no, not doctor, pastor.
Oh man, that's funny. McKinley Wolf said, so why did you decide to start your YouTube channel, Leonardo? I know we talked about this in the first chat, but maybe give kind of an idea of how that started, like a quick overview of what
it was.
Sure.
It was a lot of things that got it started. Well, I've had other YouTube channels before that, just never did anything, never went anywhere. But I think it's because I didn't have a passion for that. Like I like video editing, so I have a video editing page, but I think since my heart really isn't in there, like it lacks, it lacks a little bit of that spirit.
Yeah.
But so it was a series of things. It was me seeing a reaction video about a year and a half ago. These two gentlemen who are they like hip hop, and they were reviewing rock and metal, and I thought that was cool. So that was like about a year and a half ago, and I thought, oh, maybe I should do that one day. But that just sat there in the back of my head, didn't go anywhere. And then listening to Oceans for the first time, being exposed to that music with my girlfriend, and then a lot of other signs like the 333 appearing everywhere, asking me to be quiet, like shut up and be still, and then finally being still, and then listening to it, and then I think the main thing was the Great Spirit just telling me, just do it,
Yeah.
And very like a Shia LaBeouf style. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it.
Just do it. Shia LaBeouf style. That's funny. Yeah, and you've done it. I think one of the cool things you've stayed consistent in putting songs out. I was scrolling through your page today, looking at your reaction videos, and it's interesting. So I remember when we talked last time, you said you didn't start just to do Christian music, right?
Right.
And when I start going through your videos though, and you've done some like non-Christian, but like your top viewed 50,000 and above viewed videos are all like big worship songs. And so it's right. Going to be interesting to see how you kind of roll other ones out. If worship songs is going to be something you stick with, it seems like people like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I just released on Monday. I released the first rock song, and then I did an R&B song on Tuesday. Yesterday I did a Hebrew song, like a world music.
Oh, I saw that one. That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and I watched.
So it didn't have
super neat.
Yeah, it didn't have as many views as the other ones do, but I'm just assuming because the algorithm right now on YouTube is just feeding it to people who have listened to Christian music. So I'm pretty sure that's little by little it's going to start feeding it to people who like hip hop, people who like rock, and eventually that will sort of pick up the same type of audience, or numbers wise. But
right.
I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm still going to do the worship songs as often as I possibly can, because I've got a long list, so I have to really be dedicated to it.
Well, and the good news
I can't let
is,
people down.
I mean, knowing worship culture and kind of knowing the worship music scene, that kind of growing up in church, I can tell you that you will never run out of songs, because there's constantly new worship songs coming out, especially now. So you'll never run out of songs. Let's see, I'm going through. There's a bunch of stuff on here. Door 33. What coffee did you use? Did you do your pour over with? I actually used a coffee from a coffee shop here in town called Gold Coffee. Actually, their beans are from Wild Gift Coffee in Austin, Texas. So it's Wild Gift. I forget which one this one is. I I think it's a Colombian, but I don't remember. But yeah, are you a coffee guy, Leonardo?
I am. I'm more of an instant coffee though, because for a while I wasn't drinking much coffee because it upset my stomach. Give me heartburn. But I kind of I finally discovered the sugar to coffee to water ratio.
Yeah,
and I figured it out. So yeah, in the mornings I'll have a cup.
Nice.
Just to get me going.
I'm doing a cup at 9 p.m. at night. So that's where I'm at with coffee. That's my relationship with coffee.
May I suggest you learn how to play the keys?
Yeah, I need to
tonight.
I should. Madi, I think she's saying they could make a movie about us meeting on YouTube, you coming out here, joining the staff of the church, and as I was scrolling through, people are. She said, "Who would play you guys in a Lifetime movie of your friendship?" And so we got Chad's played by Jonah Hill, and Leonardo's played by the guy who played Chris Perez in Salinas.
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 I'm glad nobody said Lou Diamond Phillips would play me because he's already pretty old.
That could work. I mean, he said Jonah Hill would play me, but I don't know if I look like Jonah Hill. Could Matthew McConaughey like grow a beard or something?
Probably.
I'm just kidding. Tom Hanks. Ryan Hicks said Chuck Norris versus John Wick. I guess the question there is who wins?
Oh, come on. Well, are we talking about the internet Chuck Norris who's like unstoppable? Because if we're talking about that one, then
he
Chuck
can't
Norris
lose.
Wins.
Yeah.
You can never lose. I mean, but if we're talking about the real Chuck Norris, well, then John Wick. But then we'd be talking about the real, what's his name? Keanu. I don't know.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
I don't know. Where do we
I think Chuck beats the real Keanu. But
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Chuck was an actual, like, he was a fighter, right? He was trained. Keanu's just a movie star. Although he makes really cool motorcycles and he's a motorcycle guy. I do remember that.
Yeah. And he gives away a lot of them, doesn't he?
Yeah. So there you go, Ryan. Chuck Norris, that's the answer. I was born in Oklahoma, so I got to go with Chuck Norris. I think that's where he's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm glad they said John Wick and not Bruce Lee because we know how that ended.
Oh yeah. Ashley Stern said, "What is your favorite story from the Bible and why?" You got one?
I do. Oh well, I have two, but I guess I think the crucifix would probably be my favorite.
Yeah.
Because there's so many tiny little lessons, along the way, of how to be fully present, about how to love someone regardless of how you're treated, knowing yourself profoundly, and then as the song says, we know where we're going.
Yeah.
I think he knew where he was going, so that's kind of what I feel like he was repeating to himself.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. You guys can treat me however you want, but I know where I'm going. I'm going. So I think the crucifix is probably one of my favorites. But although I have to tell you, I'm very intrigued by this, and maybe you can give me a little bit of insight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued by the story of the tree of life and what, like, it was hidden, and like man and woman, like they both eat from the fruit, and then God's like, yo, where you at? And then everybody's like, we're hiding. And then they're like, why are you hiding? And then he's like, because we're naked. And he's like, who told you you're naked? And then he's like, this happened. And then he's like, did you eat from the tree of tree? And then what's interesting to me is that he didn't say, like, beware, man is now become like one of us. He says, behold, like if it's a good thing almost. Behold, man has now become one of us, knowing good and evil. Let him not reach and eat from the tree of life, or he'll live forever. And then so he hid the tree and protected it with an angel with a flaming sword. And then it's like, and then that's it. Like, so like that's all it says about it. And I'm like curious. I'm curious to know about it.
Yeah, I think so. When you look at like the garden story, right, where God creates Adam and then creates Eve and says, don't eat of this tree. It's interesting. It's like eat like he created this garden. Don't eat of this one tree, right? And they eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the serpent tricks them, tricks Eve, and then Adam eats of the fruit as well, and so tricks them into eating it. And so I think we're constantly in this battle, and I think this is what happened. So when Adam and Eve ate of that tree of the fruit, it says that you will become like God, right? So I think what happened in the garden was this place of perfection, of walking with God. And when they ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, man in that moment got to decide what is right and wrong, right? Evil became a thing. So in that moment, that's where it says, like, man got to decide what is right and wrong. Man got to decide now. It's the knowledge of good and evil. So there was this dichotomy that entered in. There's a good and there's an evil, and man got to enter into that. And it also says that you will surely die. So in theologically, this is where I think the way I grew up, my understanding of this has differed now. But I think basically what has happened is when they ate of this, it says that you will surely die. I believe, in the way I teach, is that sin entered into the world, right, in that moment. And sin, most people would look at sin as like a behavior that is against God. I think what really happened is sin entered in like a disease, because God doesn't say, you ate of this tree, now I will surely kill you. He says, no, you will surely die. So the penalty of sin, like what happens with sin, is death. And so for me, it's this idea that it's like, hey, when you get sick and you get a fatal disease, the penalty of that disease is death. And God says, you're going to die. And I think what happened is they're in this dichotomy, right? They're in this place where they can now choose right and wrong. And God says, I have to hide the tree of life because you have death coming. And if you eat of this tree of life, you'll be stuck in this place. So I have to fix it. I have to rid this system of good and evil so that we can bring you back to just the place of life. And so I think God hid the tree, and we have this idea that God was like this angry father that was like, get out. Like it was taught that way, like, get out of here. And like somebody shoves this like fiery sword in the ground, and he's like, get out of here. You've messed up. And I don't think that's what it's like. I think if God is love, my understanding is God was like, hey, you need to leave. Like, I'm going to banish you from this because I don't want you to be stuck here. I'm going to fix this. He even says in that moment, he tells the serpent that I'm going to fix this. This is, you will die. From this woman will come a seed that will crush you. And so I think what happens is God says, I'm going to fix this. You need to leave. You can't eat of this tree because you'll be stuck in this entire system where you're choosing right and wrong. And I got to get rid of the thing that makes you think that you can do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect sense.
And so I think God says, hey, you've got to leave until I fix this. And so that's what happens. And then you fast forward to your story of the crucifixion and resurrection. Again, this is where I think, and I did a message on this for Easter. It's called the two chairs, where we have these ideas that like that God is mad at us and he turns his back on us. But when I read scripture and I walk through scripture, every time man does something that like is maybe against God or doesn't listen to God, to me, God is pursuing them. Like, they turn their back on God and God's like, no, I'm still here. And he comes around the front of them. And so there's this constant pursuit of God, right? A God towards man. And so I think what happened at the cross, if I look at sin entered into humanity like a disease, it says that when Christ went on the cross, that he became sin. He took all the sin of the world on himself and became sin. And this, when I look at it, I look at it as the disease of sin, the disease in humanity, enters into Christ on the cross, and he becomes that disease, and he dies. And when he dies, the disease dies with him. Sin dies with him. It says that he took it to the grave. And so in that moment, the enemy believes that like he defeated Jesus, right? But really what happened is Jesus just killed the disease of sin. And when he raises back, the sin is dead. The power of sin is no longer ours. And actually in Galatians and in Colossians 3 and in Galatians 2:20, it says that I was crucified with Christ, that we were crucified with him, that we died with him, and we were raised to new life with his life in us. Does that make sense? So we died, and a new man came to life. And so a lot of people don't like, so the crucifixion, a lot of people don't realize that it wasn't just Jesus that died on the cross, but we all died with him. Colossians 3, I think it's 3:10 says that we died with him, and now we have been made new and come to new life when he comes to life. So anyway, that was a long explanation for the tree of life, but I honestly think this entire thing has been, how do we get back to a place of the tree of life? And really a lot of this has to do with like, I think where we're at right now, and a lot of like things that are going on in our world. We live in this place of like this dichotomy, these systems of right and wrong, and God's like, no, like unity, united with me, united together. That was my plan. Like if we would go back to the garden, where Adam and Eve were naked before. Like I think when God asked, like, who told you were naked? He's like, I told you were naked. There was no shame though.
Yeah, right.
But when sin entered in and the idea of right and wrong entered in, now I've got this idea that like, oh man, there's something wrong with me. Shame and guilt enters in. And God's like, no, I told you were naked. That was okay. Like there was no shame in that.
Yeah.
But the eating of the fruit brought us to that place.
Yeah, and it reminds me a little bit of like in Buddhism, they have a term called dualism.
Yeah.
Where you're aware,
thinking.
Right? And to me, it's, so you have good and then you have evil, and we're constantly fluctuating between, the two, drastically going from one opposite, seeking to be, in moments of pleasure, and then sinking into moments of like fear and anxiety and all that. But we're never in the middle where there's nothing, where we're not, where we're the same, whether things are going bad or things are going well for us. We're always wanting to say like, yeah, things are going well for me, and it's me that's doing this thing. And then like, oh, things are not going well for me. Why me? Why don't think? But we never bring ourselves to like a good center. And it's interesting that you said that like, well, yeah, we were naked, but we weren't calling it good or bad. It was just that we were naked. We were
just naked. That's who we were. Yeah. Yeah, but that thought process of like a dualism, that dualistic thinking entered in, and now there is a good and a bad, and that's where shame and guilt can enter in. And so I think that is the entire, like that is the Christian walk, is learning that guilt and shame are not from Father, or as you would say, like it's not from the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit's not here to just use fear and guilt and shame to guide you in a direction, but use love to remind you of who you are, remind you you're a child of the Creator, and go that way. So
it's funny how like there's a lot of little things scattered around the Bible that kind of point to this return to that state that you're talking about. Like one, like to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you have to return to like a childlike state, which a child doesn't know good and evil yet, or like doesn't. It's being taught that, right? The other thing is I'm gonna paraphrase because I'm an amateur here, but something about Jesus saying that let your sight be singular. Do you know that?
Let your sight be singular,
or let your something about letting your vision be singular. In other words, it's pointing towards like, to me, that I took it to mean that you're not torn between good and evil, but that you let your attention be just singular. Let me see if I can find the scripture in the meantime.
So I might even have it in the chats. I'm looking through. Jason says, "I love that God always pursues us." Right, like that. When that idea popped, like when I learned that, it completely changed my idea of who God is and who I am. Because I always thought God was mad at me. I always thought that like he didn't like me, like he's like, all right, you're saved now, like you're in, but I really still don't really like you. But the reality is, when you read the scripture and you look at it, like no, he pursues, and I mean I think you've probably seen that a ton, right, Leonardo, in comments like God's pursuing you, God is chasing you, and I do like I think that God pursues us and loves us right where we're at. So. Christina Paul asked a really serious question too. So one of our youth took his life 2 days ago. Suicide's high. Many say suicide blocks your salvation. Please explain. Christina, first off, man, I'm so sorry. Like it's, I'm really sorry about that. I feel for you, and so again, my understanding of God, of Scripture, of who we are. I would say I grew up believing that like that was the ultimate sin, that if you commit suicide, you're out forever. I don't believe that. I think suicide, there's so many sad things that happen there, but I think a lot of things that happen with that is with mental illness or mental health where you're struggling. And I don't think that a God that is love is one that would say, oh, you were sick, even mentally, and you decided to take your life. Like that decision removes you from my hand. Like I don't believe that. A lot of people would preach the opposite of that. I just don't. I don't agree. I think that my actions didn't get me into heaven, and my actions don't get me out of heaven. My actions didn't get me into a relationship, and they don't get me out. That God pursued me, loved me, and continues to love me. And so I don't believe that is it. Now, when I was a youth pastor, that was one of the hardest things for me to teach, because it does. It's almost like, so we're good. Like even if I did that, I'm good, and I don't. Like that's tough, but I don't think. I don't think that's how that works with God. I think He's constantly loving us.
I think it points to the sort of misconception, or not misconception, but the idea that this life that I'm living is mine, right? And so God gave me this life, and the only one that could take it from me is God. And if I take it from me, I'm cheating somehow, you know. But the biggest thing to address here is the whole like mental and emotional state where we don't really know what to do when we're feeling these lower emotions, where we're going through so much, pain, we're going through so much heartache, where maybe we're not getting recognized for the things we may feel like invisible, to the point where we feel that death is less painful than the pain that I am experiencing currently. And you know, that's why I think it's important that we go within ourselves, like and learn how our own emotions work, so that we can better understand ourselves, so that when we do get to a point where we're low, we're not easily convinced by those thoughts, that because your own mind sort of tricks you. In Hinduism or Buddhism, I forget, there's a thing that says your mind can either be your best friend, or it could be your greatest enemy. And they see it as a tool, right? So it's like it's not who you are. It's a tool that you use to discern, you know, or to go about your life. But the thing is that in this dualistic thinking, also you have this part of you that most people aren't aware of, that our attention internally is split. Like, for example, my mom said to me one day, something happened to me. I was driving and I got to this light, and the sun was like reflecting from this building, and then suddenly I just started to feel like pressure, and I started to breathe really heavy, and I feel like I couldn't keep my breath. And then she's like, so then I said to myself, my mom's name is Mayela. She goes, Mayela, calm down. And then I said to her, I said, do you realize what you just did? There was a Mayela that is calm, and there's a Mayela that is not calm.
Mm.
And the calm Mayela was telling the other Mayela to calm down. So which one are you? And then she's like, oh, like, I guess I never realized that I was like, my intention internally is split in that way. And I said, but if you notice, there's a third. There's another in the fire, right? Which is observing the two, which is watching the one that's panicking and the one that's not. And so without going too deeply into this, if we learn to practice that sort of inner perception, like switch perceptions internally, we're able to tell what our body is telling us, what our mind is telling us, and what our emotions are telling us, and be able to decipher which are the sort of the destructive thoughts that say you're not good. Okay, just real quickly, I'm just going to go into this real quickly. We'll move on to the next question.
Mm.
But I told this to my girlfriend the other day. Your mind is good at its job. If you say to yourself, God, I'm an idiot, your brain goes, okay. It starts searching in all its past memory. It starts searching all the evidence that will support this idea that you're an idiot. It'll say, yeah, remember that time you fell? Remember that time you pushed the door instead of pulled when the sign obviously said pull? It gives you examples, and then it sinks you deeper into that feeling like, yeah, see, I'm an idiot. But equally, if you say, you know what, I'm pretty smart, your brain will equally go into its record and bring up examples of things that you did that were really smart, that support that thought. And at the same time, there's another part of you that says, no, you're not, you're stupid. You remember that time you pushed instead of pull. And so there's like this internal like battle that's constantly at play here. And if we don't learn to sort of control that inner chaos, then the outer chaos just seems like a task that is impossible, which will eventually get us to say, I'm checking out. Like, I can't, like, this is too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Jason actually said, and I was thinking this as you were talking about, like this idea and even just the mindset and the way that our mind can kind of direct us. Paul says that, we're to take every thought captive. And so to take every thought captive and basically, run it through this idea of like, is this from the flesh or this from the spirit? Right. If it's from the spirit, then it should produce things like peace and joy. But if it's from the flesh, then it can cause anxiety or fear or anger. And so it's that idea of like taking every thought captive. And I think, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to add to that. Okay, so one of the reasons why the flesh does that is because it becomes addicted to the chemicals that the brain releases when it feels fear, when it feels anxiety, that adrenaline, it becomes addicted to it. So it's constantly feeding us that.
Which is always is the same thing. So we talk about it a lot of times. I've talked quite a bit on like gratitude, and I think we've even had this conversation. But to be in a state of gratitude is releasing dopamines, right, and releasing the things that are making you happy or joyful. And it's interesting, right, that our mind works that way. That if I'm grateful, if I'm in a place of gratitude, psychologically speaking, I can't also be in a place of like sadness, right, or worry, because gratitude just shifts the brain. I'm actually I have my GI Bill from the military that pays for school, and I've been debating on going back to school for psychology just because I think the more I read the gospel, and especially like you read Paul's writings and stuff, and he's through the New Testament, Paul talks so much about the mind and how this works out. And I think even at our church, so we teach what I would call, or what we call kind of like new covenant. Like there was an old covenant, there's a new covenant, we're under the new covenant. But one of the main things that I talk about a lot is our identity, like who we are. And I think a lot of times, even in scripture, even in like Christianity and church, we have this idea, and we kind of talked about this the other day offline, but there's these like theologies in Christianity that tell me that I'm a dirty, rotten sinner, that I'm like a worm, I'm dirty, I'm rotten, and so when I think that I need to fix that. So what I teach and what we do so often is I teach that no, your identity, Paul says that my identity is in Christ, that that I have, like, it is now Christ who lives in me. I have become the righteousness of God in Christ. So I am the righteousness of God in Christ. So when I teach identity, I teach what the scriptures say is, no, you're not a servant or a slave or a dirty, rotten sinner. You are a son or a daughter of the Most High King. And when you live in this place of sonship, of this understanding that I am who God says I am, then the more I get that in my brain, it's just like we're talking about mentally. I live from that place. But if I'm living from a place of defeat all the time, then I'm never experiencing the victory that Christ says we have. So I just that's what we teach.
You're like a reverse magnet that's repelling.
Exactly. Yeah. If I believe that I am the righteousness of Christ, and now don't get me wrong, Paul says that sometimes I don't act like I'm acting in a way that is not consistent with who I am. And you were talking about this earlier. Like I act in a way. So if I'm in a place of fear, like if I'm operating from fear, it's like, no, like perfect love casts out all fear. I have perfect love of Christ in me. If I'm operating from fear, I'm operating from something that's outside of who I am. That's not who I am. And I think that God or the Spirit just continues to remind us, no, I love you. Yeah. You are my child. You are like, and when I can get that in my brain, I can live from there. What's that?
Yeah. There's a story that the Buddhists tell that there was a king who had a son whose son was robbed from the cradle at, I think, like at the age of 1 or whatever, and was taken purposely and dumped in another village, and was raised as in a family that was very poor. So then that child grew up and became a beggar and was always out in the street. But this king never gave up the search for his son, and eventually he discovered that his son was a beggar out in the street. And so he approaches him and he says, the king comes in with all his fancy robes and his fancy knights, and and he says, "Hey, my son, like I've been searching for you for years, and I finally found you." He says, "Get up from the ground where you're laying, and come live with me. Riches await. Mm-hmm. And the guy was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm just a beggar." He said, No. Somebody took you from me when you were just a child, and you're not a beggar. You're a prince." Mm-hmm. He says, so that he suddenly just like dropped this identity of the beggar, mm-hmm. like a robe. He just dropped it and immediately stepped into his princehood. Mm-hmm. And he says, in the same way, we have forgotten that we are this precious spirit, if you will, and that we are a part of that of the highest, if you will. So in this case, the Great Spirit, the Father, or whatnot. But dropping what we believe or what the world has taught us that we are, dropping it just like garments, and stepping into this, born again, if you want, if you want to call it that, into new robes.
Yeah, and it's like in Christianity, it's this stepping into the understanding of like, I am a son. I am a son of the King. So I am a prince, right? I do have. Jason actually says it here. He says we don't live for victory; that we live in a place from victory, or from a place of victory. Like we live from it. Yeah, Jason, I was thinking the same thing. He said prodigal son vibe. Do you know the story of the prodigal son in Scripture?
No. Might, but not.
So it's a prodigal son. It's a son that asks his father. Jesus tells a parable, and it's a son that asks his father for his inheritance early. He doesn't want to wait on him, so so his father says, "Okay, here's your inheritance," and the son leaves, and it says he goes off into the far country, and he squanders all of his money, and he ends up in a place of he ends up actually in like eating from the scraps of like what pigs are eating from. And he says, "Man, the servants at my father's home eat better than this." He's like, "I could go back and apologize, and I could eat even just what the servants are eating. I could go back." And so the son goes back, and then the way Jesus tells the story is as he's going back to the father has been waiting on him, and he's waiting on this son to return, and And when this son, when he sees him, he says the son is like thinking of like all the ways he can apologize and what he's going to say to his father. And when the father sees him, it says that he ran towards him. And in like Hebrew custom in Jerusalem, like for the father, an elderly man to run was just not a thing. And so he's got to like pick up his basically like dress, his long like tunic and run towards his son. And when he gets to his son, it says that his son began to apologize, and the father just hugs him and kisses him and takes off his ring, his family crest, right, and puts it onto his son. And he says, just telling him how much he loves him. And the son's like, I just wanted to apologize. I just want to be back like a servant. And the father's like, no, you're my son. Tonight we feast. Go kill the fattened calf. We're going to have a party. My son has returned. And he brings him back, and they throw this party. And there's actually a second son in the story. And the second son is the one that was there the whole time. And it says that the second son wouldn't come into the party because he's like, man, I stayed here with you the whole time. He left, and you're throwing a party for him. And the story in this is all wraps up in like the father's love for his son. How when the son came back, he greeted him back, and he's still in the family. And I think with the other son, the second brother, I think what's happening is he's like, no, this party's for you too. Like you're in this. You have to understand that you don't earn this. You are already my children. You're not earning anything. Like he didn't earn a party. I'm just throwing a party because he's back. He's my son. And so it's that kind of vibe of like the son returning, the father going and throwing a party and reminding him that he is his son. The son thought, if I could just go back and be a servant. He's like, no, bro, you are my son. That is who you are. You are an heir to my kingdom. And so, that's
awesome.
A lot of the way. Pam, I love this. There's a song called "You Say" by Lauren Daigle.
Okay.
Lauren's phenomenal, and it's one of my favorite songs. Because it talks about identity. It talks about you say who I am. I think you'll dig that one. I don't want to say too much.
Who's it from again? Sorry.
Lauren Daigle. It's Daigle.
Oh, got it. Cool. It's on the list.
On the list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. This one got a lot more preachy than the last time.
Yeah. It's all right.
I didn't even prepare a sermon or anything.
I found the scripture, by the way. It's Matthew 6:22.
It is 6:22. Yeah.
Yeah. The light of the body is the eye. Is that if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. That didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about. I was just thinking that it felt to me like don't look at things in the dualistic way. Look at them singularly, and then you'll see everything as one. You'll see everything. You see the true nature of things. You'll see that the tree that you breathe from is just as important as you, or some, I don't know, something philosophical like that.
Something super philosophical. I got you. You're I was trying. So I didn't get to talk about my favorite. You took the two like most important like Bible stories in the whole thing, man. Like the garden and the crucifixion and resurrection. Like those are pretty like staple. Foundational times in a Christian, but I have a good one for you that maybe you've never heard.
Okay,
it's I used to have to talk about this with my with my youth. So there's a story in 2 Kings 2, and I'm gonna scroll down and read this because I think you're gonna like this. 2 Kings 2, and so it's this prophet Elisha, right? Elisha is a prophet. He's a man of God. He's one that God would talk to, and he would share the prophecy with the people of Israel. And so Elisha is getting older, and he's heading through Bethel. And so he's it says in 2 Kings 2:23, he says he went up from there to Bethel, and while he was going up on the way, some small boys came out of the city and jeered at him, saying, Go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head. And I used to tell this story because just to give you
I think I know this story.
just to give you some perspective, I used to tell this story because I'm bald, bro. Like I'm a bald man, and my youth used to make fun of me and call me bald. And so I'd say, hey, have you read 2 Kings 2:23? Go on, bald head. And he said, and he turned around, and when he saw them, he cursed them in the name of the Lord, and 2 she-bears came out of the woods and tore 42 of the boys. From there, he went to Mount Carmel. Like, he must have lived in California. Marty's like, OMG, not this story again. She's heard it, bro, because they used to make fun of me for being bald. And I was like, hey, you need to read this. Make fun of a man of God. It's terrible. I still have no idea what that story is about in the Bible. Like I can't figure it out, but hey, he was bald and he got made fun of, and he set him straight.
I have a feeling that maybe the person who wrote that book was probably bald and was
yeah. I think Elisha wrote it. No. Yeah, there's some more questions here. I gotta scroll back up.
All right, cool. Ooh, I like this one.
Which one?
Kara Hinojosa?
Hinojosa, yeah. Advice on going through heartbreak. I'll let you answer this one first.
I'll let John Mayer answer that. When you're dreaming with a broken heart.
Come on, sing it. Sing it.
What does it say? The waking up is the hardest part. Well, advice for going. It depends on what caused the heartbreak.
Yeah, for sure.
We need a little bit more context, but sometimes what I found in some of my own heartbreaks, not just romantic heartbreaks. You know, there are different types of heartbreaks too. There's the heartbreak of failing at your business. There's the heartbreak of just things not going well. But sometimes I feel it's like the Great Spirit saying that probably wasn't for you, or that that was something that you were meant to do. Because sometimes the way that I saw it, the way that was communicated to me, was that sometimes the Great Spirit doesn't break your heart; it cracks it open to reveal something else that's in there that's more more precious. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, Kara, I would say with heartbreak, having people around that you can talk through this with is huge. But I think one of the big things is kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier with the identity, understanding that who I am, what my identity is, where I find my identity is not in what other people say about me or what other people do to me or how I am treated or anything like that. My total identity, who I am, is who God says I am and who Christ says I am, and the love that I have through the Father. And so I think stepping back and just understanding who you are in Christ and where that strength comes from, kind of stepping into that. So but I think, like I said, one of the major things there is, man, having people around that will love on you and remind you of that, remind you who you are. So Kara, I was gonna say, Marty actually just put this up. There's a really good book. That's my wife, Marty, but they do a women's group on Tuesday nights. They just went through this book called How to Survive a Shipwreck by Jonathan Martin. It's hard to read, but honestly, that book, the topic of that book is very much surrounding his heartbreak, and in a crazy divorce that he went through and stuff like that. So it is it's a good read, and I think that would totally be something that could help you out. And I don't know where you're at in the world, but I'll tell you this, Marty, are you guys still doing Zoom calls for your group? Is that still a thing? Like, if that is a thing, maybe that's something you could even get involved with that group of women. They're incredible. They speak life to each other. They remind each other who they are in Christ. So that might be a good one. But yeah, look up that book. In fact, Kara, send me a message if you want I mean, get the book, or if you want, we'll send you the book. So you let me know, and we'll do either one. If you need us to, we'll get you the book and send it to you. But it's a great book, something that I think would really be good in this time. So cool. And my wife is on here. Maudie is on here. You guys could hit each other up and you could Zoom. There you go. She just put her email up. Maudie at thearsenal.church. It's Maudie, Mari. Her name's Mariposa. That means butterfly. Did you know that?
Mariposa traicioné. Yeah.
So yeah, email her, Maudie at thearsenal.church. They do a Zoom group. It's an incredible group of women. So do that and connect there. But Carrie, you're not alone. I don't know if I haven't even said this, but I went through a divorce. It honestly, the church caused a lot of hurt in that time. Because I basically was told that was it. God was done with me. I would never be in ministry. I'd lost my calling, like all kinds of crazy stuff. But man, God has definitely wrapped some good community around me. And I think we've talked about this, Leo, but even now, I mean, that was, man, years ago, 14 years ago, 13 years ago or something like that. But Maudie, my wife, and I have been married almost 12 years. We got kids, like 3 kids together. And my ex-wife actually cuts Maudie's hair. She's her hairstylist and comes to our church. And so, and it's wild, but we like just forgiveness and reconciliation, stuff like that has been incredible there. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it takes a lot of forgiveness for that sort of relationship to come out of it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else we got. What else we got?
How do you deal with anxiety? Oh, wow.
How do you deal with worry? How do you deal with anxiety? We got a couple of those on here. Rosavella asks, how do you deal with worry? I think one of the things with worry is I always get this quote wrong, and I need to find it, but it's something crazy. Like psychologists say that somewhere around 94% of the things that we worry about will never actually happen, or we don't have any control over. So there's like 6% of things that we actually have a decision to make or some type of control over that we could change an outcome. But for the most part, we worry about things that will never happen, or that we just don't have control over. So dealing with worry, I think, is understanding, again, stepping back, understanding who you are, understanding how where your strength comes from, and not being focused on the future. Like Jesus even says, like, don't worry about tomorrow. It will have its own worries. To be in the moment. So I think the best way to deal with worry is to be in the present, is to understand. And this goes back to, how do you deal with worry? We talked about earlier, like, if I'm in a state of gratitude, a mindset of gratitude, like, what do I have? What am I grateful for? When I get into that place of like, man, I have breath today, even, like, when I begin to be grateful, then worry is not something that I enter into, because I'm focused on the right now. What do you think?
Right. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I was going to say that with anxiety, it's usually a play of time. So you're either, with anxiety, you're worried about something that you think is going to happen in the future, which means your attention is not like in the present moment. So it's just like what you said. So one of the ways that I deal with it is journaling. So like I said last time, I think we spoke about this the last time. So I will write like the date, and then I'll start my day off with.
Hold up, bro! You got cool handwriting.
Well, actually, I use this. I use this to practice my handwriting, because I had horrible handwriting. So I wanted to start my journal off with, and then I do sketches too in my journal.
Look at that, man of many talents.
Yeah, but anyway, like, I start off my day. So Thursday, June 11th, 2020, morning gratitude. Grateful to have work, and that have a great community that is growing so well, and it's just taking a moment in the morning. What I do is I take a moment in the morning to write about what I'm thankful for, or to write about something, or I do like a projection, like a sort of like what do I call it? uh, uh, I forgot what I call it, but like today's resolution. So what I do is I say, okay, yesterday I failed at patient. I was impatient, for example. So then in the morning I will write, today I'm going to practice patience, and then just about the day start practicing a little bit more patience. So if you're worried, maybe practicing being fully immersed in the present moment while you're washing your hands, just say, okay, right now I'm just washing my hands.
Yeah.
Whatever I have to do after I'm done can wait till I'm done after washing my hands, you know. But one of the cool things that like my girlfriend, you know, I told you she watches her church online, and they had a segment called Anxious for Nothing. And they spoke about how Pastor Gene, so shout out to Pastor Gene, I don't know if he's going to watch this, hopefully he does. He was mentioning that sometimes what we go into anxiety, from what I can remember, I'm going to paraphrase here, is that there's sort of this lack of trust in God, that he put it like himself, like between two pillars. That one is that we let go of the outcome that we want to happen, and that we put ourselves in full trust that the great spirit or God is going to make this okay. And then the other part is to know that everything is under control, but not your control.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. That's the
Right.
That's the scariest part, you know, learning to trust that. But it's just like, I just listen to Oceans, you know. I think if you listen
Right.
to Oceans,
that'll help you out for sure.
That, yeah, like,
Well, I mean,
step into that, like, sort of like, I trust you.
I mean, what you just said is like washing your hands, and like one of the like psychology, one of the ways to like kind of bring down anxiety a little bit is that moment, like centering yourself in the present. So it's that like, I'm washing my hands. It's very much like, oh, like I'm washing my hands, or like there's this exercise where you like stick your hand on like your chest and your hand on your stomach and you breathe, and you can feel your body moving, and you're centering yourself back into I'm here. I'm in this moment right now in the present, and I'm not worried about what's coming. I'm not worried about what was in the past, but I'm here, and really like even like looking around. I was trying to remember, there was an exercise that a buddy of mine put up, especially at the early stages of COVID, like when everybody was like having to stay home. But it was basically like sit in your home and look at 5 things, and like 5 things that are in your home that you can be like, oh, okay, there's a camera here. All right, there's a computer here. There's and just like bring yourself back into like, kind of like you said earlier, like just focusing in on what's right here, and then I can really focus on who I am in that moment. And so it's that.
That's one of the things that I really loved about yoga. So like, you know, more, it's not just about twisting yourself into a pretzel, but even like in the most uncomfortable positions. So you're holding a position called, you know, warrior. You're holding it physically. Something's happening. You're holding that physically, and then suddenly your arms start to shake, your legs start to shake because you're not used to holding this position. But you're supposed to breathe, just as you said, and focus completely in your breathing, right? And meanwhile, your brain's going, okay, we've had enough. I think this is enough. And a part of you says, no, I'm stronger than this. I can hold this for just a little bit longer. I can hold this for 2 more breaths.
Right.
And the brain goes, no, that's enough. You do those 2 breaths, and then you say, I'm going to hold it for 2 more, to start stretching your awareness to be okay when you're uncomfortable. And what's cool about that is that when you learn to sort of, what they say is they put your thought into a bubble and let it float away, and just allow it to float away. And what's cool about that is that I learned, at least for myself, that whenever I was in a stressful situation, in an uncomfortable situation, just like I'm uncomfortable holding that pose because I'm comfortable there, and I breathe through that into the outside, breathe uncomfortable moments. So learn to be comfortable in the discomfort.
Yeah. And I saw John Whitworth said something he's heard a few times is worry, anxiety. If you like Philippians 4, 6, and 7, Paul talks about a prayer where he says, rejoice in the Lord always. This is verse 4. Again, I'll say rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God will surpass all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And I think it's what Paul's talking about there. It's like Thanksgiving, right? It's getting back into this mindset of gratitude, letting God know where you're at. And it says that that the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ. So I think it is that moment of like, which is a great scriptural reference, John, for what we're talking about, is praying, talking to God, letting God know where you're at, but also that Thanksgiving. I think a mindset of gratitude, a mindset of Thanksgiving, focus on God. You begin to like step back into reality, and not reality, but in the present.
That's actually one of the scriptures that Pastor Gene used in that sermon of anxious for nothing. Yeah. And, it reminds me of the Stoics too. The Stoics, the Greek philosophers, they used to practice this thing called amor fati. I don't know if you can read that. Amor fati. It means love your fate, and it's just the idea that whatever the world tosses you, whatever life tosses at you, that you not only accept it, but you embrace it, because that's meant for you. That's something that was very unique. That's something that was meant just for you in order for you to overcome something. But if you reject it, what ends up happening is it comes right back around, and you end up experiencing something again until the lesson is learned, and then you have it sort of in your tool belt as something that you can use, when the situations arise again, because they always arise.
Always come up.
Awesome.
Jason Wessels in South Africa said, "What are you looking forward to doing once we're out of this COVID pandemic?"
Going to Cape Town and going to Texas.
Let's go. For sure, Leonardo's coming to San Antonio when this COVID pandemic is over. The moment I told him today, I said, the moment you're ready to fly, you let me know, and we're gonna book a flight. And my only request is you have to vlog it, your trip here, and
I'll do it.
And then we'll go from there. But that's
my only request is that I wear California gear.
Wear it, dude. Wear your California gear. Do it. Go for it.
And then I will remove the old clothing and adopt
the Texas clothing.
Here.
How do you, Liza? Is it Lisa?
Yeah.
What are some practical ways we can build our faith?
That's all you right there.
That's all me. So I think it goes back to focusing on who Christ is, and this idea. I like to say that faith isn't a thing, but it's a person. So our faith is the Spirit, is Christ, and so when it says that He is the author and the finisher of our faith. So a lot of times faith, I think, in Christianity can be taught in this way that it becomes a burden. Like, you don't have enough faith, you need more faith, and it's this like major burden. And I don't believe that's what God has done. I think it says that He's the author and the finisher. He has given us the faith that we need. So I think in how do I build my faith? I think it's just talking to God and being like, hey, here I am. It's leaning into the trusting of who God is, and trusting Him with situations, and trusting as we walk through those situations. And there's this old saying that like faith is like portioned to us, or a portion to us in the level that we need it. So meaning like trying to find something that I don't have a big enough thing, but say there's a moment where I need like this much faith. I got coffee dripping. There's a moment where I need like this much faith, like this round faith, right? This much faith. And then once I've had that much faith and I've seen God work in whatever situation that was, and the faith that I had to trust Him, like my faith doesn't shrink back, because I've already seen what He can do at this level. So I don't lose that level of faith. Like, I know what He's done. And then maybe something happens and it's a much bigger experience, and I'm like, God, I need faith. And God says, you have all the faith you need. And He just kind of apportions it to us and shows us, like, take a plate, let's say a little bit bigger plate. Now I see that, oh man, I needed that much faith. And the faith, like, it's just unveiled that, hey, you have that faith. It's all in you. And it just continues to go. And I'm at this place now where I can't go back. Like, I've seen what God can do. Like, one of the guys that's on staff here, Rob, which Leonardo you've talked with, I think, before too, but Rob's a cancer survivor. He's seen God walk with him through cancer, right? So you can't tell Rob that God can't do that. Like I can't tell you that God can walk me. I can only tell you that God can walk Rob through cancer because I've seen it, but I've never personally experienced it. But Rob's faith in that area, like, it doesn't go back. He's seen what God can do there, and so I can't convince him. He's like, yeah, okay, go ahead.
How would you then explain, like, for example, that those experiences that I had with the warmth, and all that, and then suddenly someone said no and shook that faith, and
Yeah. So I think in that moment, what happened was, and you said, so you had that warmth, right? You felt that faith, you felt that experience. And what had happened in your understanding and kind of, I would say, in like upbringing and in like the teachings that you learned, like that person was a symbol of your faith, right? The priest that you went to was a symbol of your faith. Well, the moment that priest didn't live up to the faith that you'd felt, your faith was shaken. I would say in that moment, your faith was focused on the wrong place, because that person isn't where your faith is focused, but actually the faith that you had, that God had already shown you. So I think you had a shaking of faith because the faith was just focused in the wrong place. That makes sense.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I don't remember this, but One World Music keeps saying that I promised last time to do oceans or some other material and send them to Leonardo for reaction. Me? I was gonna do it, or maybe our band was gonna do it.
You said that your band was going to perform on the weekend. They were going to perform Oceans again, and that you were going to send me a clip for me to do a reaction video to.
You know what? I probably have it on my hard drive right here.
Oh. You're going to send me the hard drive?
No, I'm just gonna play it right now.
Let's do that at the end so that we in case we get kicked out by YouTube.
That's true. We'll do it at the end. I'll play the video at the end. Let's see what else we got. Forever Christina says, how has this journey changed you, Leonardo? He's a celebrity now, so that's different.
Yeah, right. If celebrity means someone who's celebrated, then yes. Well, how has it changed me? Well, I've gotten to meet a lot of people, a lot of wonderful people, and some very interesting people.
What do you mean by interesting, Leonardo?
Well, just some emails that were just of the interesting nature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, but just people sharing things with me that I think
you have some admirers.
That's probably should probably be best kept to themselves, But I appreciate testimonials and all, but yeah. But let's see. I think. Well, the biggest change has been, being on your show last time and being comfortable just sharing openly what I had always kept to myself for obvious reasons, because the first time that I ever confessed to an uncle of mine what was happening with me with like the lights and the numbers and everything, he said he shut me down, and I confessed to the priest, and then he shut me down. And so the first time in a very long time I was open about my experience. And then suddenly now, like, I have sort of like I hate to say an image, but I'm projecting authenticity finally, which I hadn't been able to do, be myself. So yeah, it's changed.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's what I always hope for, is that people can feel like they can be themselves. Especially around not just around me, but in our community at the Arsenal and stuff like that. So, that's definitely one of our goals. I did want to put this up. Jason Wessels did say that Cape Town's ready for us, so we're doing that. How about this? If this may be too soon, but I was gonna say 50,000, maybe 100,000. If you get 100,000 subscribers, we'll fly to Cape Town. And we'll go that may give us some time for COVID to go away, or us to know what's going on, and maybe to save some money to go to go to Cape Town. But that'd be amazing. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm down, fool.
I'm down, fool. You ain't down, fool.
You're not down.
You ain't down, fool. Catherine said, so far, what song have you enjoyed the most in your videos? Other than Oceans.
Other than Oceans? Oh man, well, King's Kaleidoscope, The Rush, that was something else, man. I was just like a little kid. I was like, whoa! I was like, oh, look at that! Oh, and then symbols, and it was just
they're so fun.
It was incredible, man. Dude, I gotta do another video, man, because it's killing me not listening to more of their music.
Oh yeah, because you have to be careful. How has that changed? Like, I guess you can listen to other music, but like especially like Christian music and stuff, you're not listening to right now because you got to save it.
I'm not. Yeah, I have to. I'm saving myself.
I'm saving myself. I'm saving myself for YouTube.
Musically celibate.
Jason talked about there's a beautiful old song called "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus," and when you focus on Him, the other things slowly disappear. Yeah. Turn your eyes.
No. I don't want to hear it. I don't.
Sorry.
It's gonna ruin it.
It's an old one. And I don't sing well, so it doesn't matter. That is not my forte.
I better watch out what I say to you, man. I better watch out what I say to you because you're bald and you might curse me and bears might just jump out of nowhere.
The bears come out of the woods. Ashley said 100K. You're gonna get that by next month. I hope not. I can't afford to go to Cape Cod right now. Yo,
I think the deal is Jason's paying for it.
Oh, that was the deal. Jason said they're ready for us. Like, I got it. Lucy has an interesting question here. Lucy said, is the idea of Christianity scary to either of you?
Ooh.
I would say for me, no.
The idea.
I would say no. I'm a Christian pastor, so that's it's not scary to me. I think it's I think it's incredible. But
I think it's
what do you think, Leonardo?
I think it's a little scary. I think it's a little scary to me, but not for the reasons that people think. Not that I'm like afraid of becoming a Christian, but because of some of the stories that you hear, like Jonestown and all these other groups that take a little section of scripture and turn it to mean something else. Also, that guy Benny Hinn, he scares me.
Benny Hinn.
There's another guy, like a televangelist that like speaks like in tongues, but he's like, and then immediately he's like, send me all your money and I'll send you this blessed.
Oh, did you buy one?
I bought one, yeah.
Yeah,
that's how I'm getting all the subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's aspect of it is scary for me because there's so many minds that are easily, impressed upon, and I think this one group of people took a part of the scripture that said like, so abandon your father, your mother, your sister, and whatever, and he used that to sort of kind of kidnap people.
Yeah.
And would keep them away from like communicating with them, and he had like 30 wives or something like that, and it's just so stuff like that is scary to me,
Yeah.
But not Christians. I'm not afraid of Christians.
Yeah, and I think that is like judging Christianity based off like a small select few that are not actually Christianity. Well, it's not. I mean, it's not even like actual Christianity. It's misinterpretation of scripture and using it in a terrible way.
But this whole thing has changed like a lot for me because I've been received beautifully by everyone, and I've so many polite people and so many wonderful stories. I mean, even like it's interesting because even like atheists are reaching out to me. I told you about that email.
Yeah.
I haven't even posted it yet, but someone sent me a beautiful email telling me that they were Christian and that they stepped away, and for like 20 years I think they're like haven't been Christian, but that they've been fighting the idea of listening to worship music because they felt that it was going to take away their identity as an atheist, and that have shown them that it's okay to explore the music and to say, oh yeah, this music makes me feel this way, without them feeling like they are I guess immersed into Christianity. It's like stepping into the door and just enjoying the music and then stepping out. What they choose to do after that is completely up to them, but I'm glad. That's why I added non-Christian again to the title, because of that email.
Yeah, so that non-Christians can also watch it, and I think that's the beautiful thing of what you're doing, and the beautiful aspect of this is it's not like, this is not pressure. And I think, like, I grew up in a place where like Christianity could sometimes feel very pressuring, and we operated from this place of like fear, and like I don't teach that. Like I don't teach that anymore. I don't believe that that's how God operated, how Christ operated. It was much more about like, hey, bringing love and understanding and inclusion and acceptance, and letting people walk out their journey. And so I think the Great Spirit is using you to allow people to realize that it's not this isn't a scary thing to even listen to the music and go from there. I don't know if you're seeing all these comments, but Jose and Marty and Jason are all talking about Cape Town. Marty thought I said Cape Cod, but Jason said that their borders are not open yet for Cape Town. Okay. So as soon as those open up, Jason, you let us know when you get the tickets for us, and we'll be there. In fact, if you do that, I'll fly Leonardo here to San Antonio, and then we'll just leave from here to go there. But it's almost been 2 hours again. How do we do this? Steven said, why do we need to label ourselves? I'm a Jesus follower, Jesus first, loved all people. I love Jesus, so therefore I should first love people. I agree, Steven. I don't think the label is something that we created. But I don't think it's bad. I think if we understand what being a Christian truly is, then it is a Jesus follower. It is little Christ. Is really that's really what Christian means. Loving people. That's what we do. We just love people. So I think that's where it enters in. Let's see. Randtree. I don't know what's going on in the comments over here.
They're having their own thing. They're not even paying attention anymore.
Oh, maybe I said Cape Cod. Maybe I said Cape Cod and I didn't say Cape Town. I absolutely could have. I'm not very good at geography, so South Africa. We'll just say that. I know he's in South Africa, whichever one that is. I think it's Cape Town. But either way, we'll go to Cape Cod and to Cape Town. We're just gonna travel around and shoot YouTube videos. That's what YouTubers do now, right?
Yeah, of course. We'll stop in Australia while we're at it too. And
I'm in.
Visit Hillsong.
Adam Mobley, the both of you need to do a convo with a liturgist. Adam, that would be phenomenal. I love the liturgist. I like listening to their podcast. It's a cool podcast. I actually just listened to one again, but they did a podcast with Propaganda, which I think I told you about. Leonardo. He's a spoken word artist, hip hop artist that's out there he's actually in LA. But they did a podcast with Propaganda in 2016, but it was talking about race, racial injustice, and racism in this country, and it's phenomenal. Just, I think my favorite quote was, I think it was Science Mike that was talking, one of the guys from the liturgist that was talking, and said he went on this this setup of the conversation, but he talked about like systemic racism from World War II and how it set some stuff up, and he unpacked a ton of stuff, and Propaganda was just because this is recorded and this needs to be, I want to put this on record. He's like, that is the most woke white boy I have ever heard. It was phenomenal. Yeah, it blew my mind. So I love liturgists. Would love to be on. Adam, if you know them and could get us on with the liturgists, that would be phenomenal. Do you know who the liturgists are, Leonardo?
No, no,
They're
I'd like to look them up.
they. I'm trying to think of the band. Gunger, Michael Gunger, is the guy that is on it, and the guy named Science Mike, or he goes by Science Mike. But they're incredible. Both I think were Christians. Then they were atheists for a while. Kind of walked away from the faith, and now are both. I think they both still ascribe to like Christianity, but at a not maybe like mainstream evangelical Christianity. But
I kind of feel like we step out of like say like I stepped out of Christianity or Catholicism. I stepped out, and now I'm like approaching, but I want to sit in the patio. I don't want to sit in, so I sit in the patio so I can drink and enjoy it.
Yeah. And Jesus comes and sits out there with you. TC asked, are you gonna start a Patreon page?
Oh man, should I?
I think so. I think you should. I think a Patreon page. I actually last night you did a live premiere on YouTube, and I went to send a super chat, and I had like put in money and I was gonna give money, and the live ended so quickly that I stopped it because I was like, oh man, I want to do it when other people can see that it's possible. And it ended. And then tonight I got on your premiere and I tried to do super chat and it said it was unavailable. But I think one of the things you need to look at with Patreon, and I don't know because I haven't looked at Patreon that much, but Patreon, you can like people can give money there or they can pay for a subscription and stuff like that. I would look at one of the things I saw, and I could be wrong on the monetization of YouTube, like super chat, like YouTube takes a big chunk of that. Whereas with Patreon, I don't know that they take as much. So I do think that would be cool. What's that?
I did add in my comments or in the description, I did add like my Venmo and Zelle because someone had asked me if there was a way for them to donate something, and so
What are they?
I did it. So my Venmo is Leo Torres Snaps.
Leo Torres Snaps?
Snaps. Yeah, because it was photography. Snaps.
Yep.
And I think my Zelle originally was my phone number, but I don't know if I want to give my phone number out to people. I think it is, let's see. Zelle is Torres TV13 @gmail.com is the email that I have attached to it. Torres TV13
TV13 @gmail.com. Donate.
And then some think that I should have a PO box, and I'm afraid what I might find in a PO box.
Let's see if this.
How much are they expensive to have PO boxes? I don't even know.
No, I don't think they're too bad. Yeah, so TC's answering the question like it's where Patreon patrons of an artist can donate monthly or per video. So Patreon's definitely something I would look into.
Okay, I'm gonna look into it. Jose's like, let me get them digits.
Any app developers, can someone make an online tip jar? That's kind of I think what Super Chat was supposed to be for. But they definitely take some of the money. But
yeah, take a cut. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I saw that actually yesterday, and I was like, okay, I don't even know what it is. Honestly, I just turned it on because it said people can, like, I guess, buy stickers while you're live chatting. They could buy stickers to catch like your attention or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, maybe they want to do that. So sure, let's activate it. But it's activated yesterday, so it might be live maybe tomorrow or the day after. And then I was thinking about getting some merch too.
Hey,
because they have this thing, and I don't know. So maybe I just have people vote for what they want. I was thinking "Spirit Lead Me," since that's kind of like the theme of my.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Reason, but I need like an awesome designer to maybe design something for me.
Oh yeah, I got you. Let's do it. We'll design.
I don't want to say his name, but
Oh, you weren't talking about
Awesome.
me.
I was gonna say, you know, I don't want to say his name, but his name rhymes with Glad, Pastor Glad.
Let's do it. Let's design some, and my guys that do all my merch here in town, they're my band. They're in our church band, and so
Cool.
like they'll hook it up. I got you. Let's do some.
Oh, awesome. Would they be able to ship and stuff? Like maybe I can set something up so people can buy online and shippity.
I don't know.
Or not.
Nah, I don't know if they'll do that, but we could maybe. I'll ask them. Maybe they can set something up like that, or we just package it, send it out to you, and then you.
Awesome. Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds better.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Your idea.
I got you.
Awesome.
Jose
Cool,
said he
thank
can design stuff too, so.
Oh, really? Because I don't know when Jose is being honest or he's just messing around.
He said he can.
Either way,
but
I
yeah,
think
you can put a merch link on your YouTube, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was looking into yesterday from like Teespring or something like that. But I don't know the quality of the merch and see. But we'll see.
We'll talk about this. I got you.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I built like Graybird. I built our site, and so we sell through. We use Shopify, but we sell through that. And so,
Yeah. I'm gonna
Kara said
make a
make sure to
Wix
have
page.
Kara said make sure to have big people clothes. We got you. We got plenty of it. We'll do that. All right. I think I mean, we're gonna keep talking, but it's been 2 hours. I mean, you guys don't have to hang out if you don't want to. But what you do need to do before you leave here is donate to Leonardo Torres Music at Venmo, Leonardo Torres, or Leo Torres Snaps, or Zelle at torrestv13@gmail.com. If you've enjoyed any of the content that he has put out on YouTube, he's putting in work, putting in the hours. Donate so that he can continue to do this. I'm actually right now. I'm gonna get on Venmo. I'll be the first. And people already did.
Thank you so
did
much.
people donate already?
Yeah, actually. So
That's amazing.
The first person asked me, and then someone else just sent something too, and of course I thank them. And then that's why in some of the videos you'll see special thanks too, and I'll mention them. So if I get something from you, I'll more than likely just give you a quick little mention on the next video, just as a hey, thanks. You know.
I'm gonna put in here. The reason I'm doing it is for being awesome.
And some.
and being handsome, being awesome. Oh man, I think we're good.
Yes. I got the Borat going. Let's keep the Arsenal.
Oh, it asked
Oceans
me for the
version
last
short
4
and
digits
sweet.
of your phone number.
Does it
Yeah,
really?
it says it's your first payment to
Okay,
Leonardo.
well, you know it, right?
Make sure they're the right person. Let's see. I got your number on
3433. It's okay because other people might have that problem too. So
3433. Confirm. Complete your payment.
Bam. So somebody said.
There you go,
hey,
man.
Don't forget about the Arsenal Oceans. Thank you. Nice. Whoa. Thank you.
Send Leo some Venmo. Hit him up at Leo Torres Snaps and Zelle Torres TV13@gmail.com. Boom.
Jose said iPhone relief fund.
That's it. Send some iPhone relief fund. All right. Let's do this. Chad, let's listen to your band's music, please. Oh man, here we go. Let me see if I have it on here.
And then Mari responded, said, Chad, let's keep the Arsenal Oceans version short and sweet.
It is long.
Play only the good part.
Play only the good part.
Play only the good part.
Oceans is a long song.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful song. So.
You've heard Oceans a lot, though.
I've heard almost every version except the Arsenal version, so I'm excited.
All right. Jason, it's 5 a.m. there, and you're just now going to bed?
My buddy Jason.
That's wild. Jason, you are the real MVP, man.
He's hardcore.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for being a part of this.
Cape Town, not Cape Cod.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Cape Town, not Cape Cod.
I talked I talked to Jason, on Instagram, and he's a Bones player. You play Bones?
Bones? Man, I haven't played Bones since high
Yeah,
school,
dominoes.
but I can play some Bones. I can
Yeah, he says he
slam
plays
some Bones.
serious Bones.
All right, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. See if they kick us off. Hey, if they kick us off, we love you guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
But
A lot of peace.
we are remember here's one of the issues that happens though, because I run this through the soundboard.
Echo.
You echo.
Yeah. Then you'll hear me twice.
Yeah. So when Leonardo talks, he echoes. The music should be good, but he'll echo. I don't know how to fix it, guys. I'm not a sound guy. But here, let's see what you think. Here we go.
I don't have sound.
You should now. No?
No.
Wait, I got you. There we go.
There it is. Oh, nice. No.
There I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. So I will call upon your name.
Nice.
Keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul rests in your embrace. For I am yours.
Nice.
You are mine.
Oh.
Grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hands will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you never fail, and you won't start now. So I will call
Nice.
upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine.
Yeah. One more music wants to know the name of the book. Cool. Got that reverse reverb going on.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper
Casey on the acoustic guitar.
than my feet could ever wander, and my faith
Casey sings a lot of our songs also.
in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. My faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, and wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. So I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are
Cool.
Such a long song.
No, that ending has like a police vibe.
Yeah, it's Steve-O on the. I don't know if you can see this.
Good job.
On the pink lead guitar there.
Yeah.
That man can play.
Cool. Cool. Steve. Oh, nice last name.
Yeah, Torres. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, and then Jordan Agaga?
Yeah, Aguinaga.
You know if it's an N? If the N is supposed to have a squiggly thing on top?
It's Naga. Aguinaga.
Okay, cool.
Um,
That's my dad's last name.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I'm Leonardo Aguinaga originally changed it when I became a citizen. To my grandpa's last name.
Wow, that's crazy. How crazy, man. We got both of the names in our band. Man, I'm pretty biased. Like, I mean, Maudie's my wife, so I think she's incredible.
Yeah.
And I always tell her, I'm like, you look like it's effortless. Like, how are you even doing that?
Yeah.
But I mean, she's done a lot of training. But
Yeah.
I don't know what'd you think. I'm not the reviewer. You're the reviewer.
Can you take me off the echo now?
There you go. I got you now.
There it is. Perfect. Okay, cool. So I like the drums. Something about the drums I was doing it that he was doing in the end there. It was different because it had like sort of obviously it had that sort of like techno or electric vibe to it, which I really like.
SPD. I know you like real drums. We're just not there yet on.
No, it's good.
We'll be back to that soon.
That's good. And your wife has a really nice voice. There's some sections where she was like effortlessly like doing these little runs that I really, really enjoyed. The pace was really nice. I like the pace that they took, and then you get a lady bass player. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Allison.
Yeah, she's really good too. So I think lyrically, obviously 5 stars.
Yeah, we didn't write that one, so.
And musical performances, 5 stars. Yeah, man.
Hey, we got a Leo 5-star rating. Bye. Oh man, I appreciate it.
This one to you. I was listening to that.
Oh man, no, they're incredible. I love them, and I gotta brag on them. Honestly, like, here's the deal: we're not a big church. We like on a Sunday morning, like before COVID, average, we're running like maybe 100, 120 people. So we're not big. We're not big at all, comparatively speaking to other churches. So when our band gets up and plays, I'm like, we should not have this level of musicianship and talent in this church. It's just, it's been incredible, and they've been with us for a long time, and it's, I love our band. They are talented, and so I'm blessed that we have them for sure.
Yep. What is it Rob, the dude with the long hair, ponytail?
That's Kenneth. That's KC.
KC. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the way he plays. Really cool.
Yeah, so he leads. So him and Marty will trade off. They lead different songs. And then KC does all of our mixing. Like he does all the work afterwards for any of the videos, and he produces, and then
nice.
Yeah,
so the multi-track was his then, I'm assuming.
No, so Multitracks is a company that does tracks especially for worship songs. So we were using a multi-track. So like the keys that you hear playing, we didn't have keys there, so that like you can pick like what's playing in it. And occasionally they'll do that. So we're actually talking about putting some songs out on like YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. And so they'll go back and actually play the parts, record them, and lay them in rather than a multi-track playing it. So, yep.
Awesome. That's awesome.
No, Jason, yeah. I definitely don't despise our small beginning. I love it. And don't. I think for me, like, just saying that is just more of a like, this is who we have, even as the community, the small community that we have. So we don't. I'm not, and I know every pastor says this, right?
It wasn't a negative.
No, it wasn't negative. It's just I'm blown away by what we have, and we love our community. It's I honestly, in all reality, don't expect us to be a huge church or big, because the way that we do community, I want it. Like, there's a guy, Eugene Peterson, that he wrote a ton of books, and he did a Bible translation called The Message. But Eugene Peterson was well known, wrote a ton of books, did a Bible translation, and he used to always say, "Man, I never wanted to pastor a church over like 300 people," and he said, because I wanted to be in a place where I could remember everybody's names, and I thought that's beautiful, and so
that is.
But Jason, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for cheering us on, and I'm for real. Like, we need to get down to Cape Town. I am down.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I think it would be a blast.
Or we can have Jason come down to Texas. We'll treat him to some tacos.
Hey, we can do that. Some barbecue, some tacos. But
he told me he likes traveling, so he wanted to do some travel too. So
come on out.
We'll visit both. It's interesting you said about that, pastor, because a lot of times I go places, I sing, and then people are like, "Oh, you should go to there's a a Spanish show called Tiene Talento, which is like it's like The Voice, but a little bit more. It's more like America's Got Talent sort of deal.
Right.
And they're like, why don't you go for the big, you know? And I said, like, nah, like I really like these intimate performances, you know. If I'm on the stage and I'm singing to thousands of people, it doesn't feel like I'm singing to them. It feels like I'm singing at them, you know. And as opposed to when I'm going to someone's house and I can interact with them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's
It's
awesome.
that intimacy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, man, we've kept them here for 2.5 hours.
Thank
And
you,
what-
everyone
and-
who's
and-
dedicated this kind of time.
The reality is, Leonardo and I, the first time we did a Zoom call together, we talked for like almost 4 hours. So we could do this all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quickly, thank you to everyone who stuck out for those 2.5 hours, because it's one thing to ask somebody, you know, for a small favor, but to ask somebody to dedicate 2.5 hours to something, you know, that's a big ask. And so thank you for dedicating that kind of time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, we appreciate it.
I say 2.5 because we spent half an hour trying to figure out
trying to figure this out. Nicole said, once COVID economy allows for it, I want to become a flight attendant and would love to visit your church. Come on, that'd be fun. First off, flight attendant, that'd be a cool job, but definitely come down. Jason said, I'm saying good night for the final real time now. All right, man. Have a good night.
Good night, Jason.
Or good morning, I guess. It's like 5 a.m. there. So get to sleep, man.
He works from home. He's fine.
Oh, he's good. I said, I don't know what. Oh, I think she was talking about like what's her favorite part. She's a little bit anxious before the music started.
Yeah, you did okay. Yeah, it's always that. Like you
Other songs we
watch
have
your own
to-
performance and
Yeah, it's
And
all. I'm gonna play
you,
Leo's next.
you're harsh.
One World Music said, cut that part. He said, please put the song and reaction part separately for us. Put on Leo's channel. I don't. Leonardo's got. He's doing some big stuff. I don't want. Like, hey, dude, you got to throw our stuff on there.
Yeah,
Leonardo's
I know,
been
why not?
incredible for us, though. He's been he's definitely championed these talks in this time. So it's been incredible. So I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I want to also say if, for the people who are still watching, explore the Arsenal page, because Pastor Chad has a lot of great content, including a conversation that he had with two gentlemen last week regarding this whole racial tension discussion, and there was a lot of great key points. And I know that Della, who's one of my main supporters on Facebook, she shared some of your content yesterday.
Oh yeah,
And,
I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so the content's great, and you know what? I really, like I told you before, I really like that vibe that you have. It's kind of like a vlog vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe like the vlogging pastor, man. That'd be cool.
The vlogging pastor. We're actually talking about, so when we come back to doing services in person, I still want to put content out and put services and stuff, or put messages and stuff online, but I don't want to do a live stream because I don't want it to be like our live service, because I think there's you lose the intimacy that's there. So I think what we're going to do is actually create specific content for YouTube that is in the style that we've been doing. And so maybe still record a couple songs, vlog style messages, but still sticking with that.
You could still record your service and then chop it into little sections and just play, a little bit of the sermon, and then like a behind the scenes, kind of like real, how they do it in like reality TVs, where suddenly you're in some room and you're and you're breaking it down just a little bit more. Maybe 5 minute snippets. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so you're gonna
Easy
move
to
out here
share,
and be our videographer and video editor. What do we got to do to get you out to San Antonio, bro? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, we'll talk. We'll talk about it. No, we'll talk.
No, we're gonna have some fun, man.
I'm
I
down,
can't wait.
fool. I'm down.
I'm down, fool. We're gonna get together.
Yeah,
I
for
can't
sure.
wait. All right, man. Let's get out of here.
All right.
I gotta get.
Yeah.
It's almost 11 o'clock here. I'm old. I get to bed. Before we sign off, make sure if it's blessed you at all, donate to Leo so he can continue doing this. Venmo
Thank you.
at Leo Torres Snaps, Zelle Torres TV 13 at gmail.com.
That was good.
Send this man some coin because he's
Thank
he's
you.
putting work in and he's loving on this community and he's building the community and I love it. But I want to see him continue to be able to do it. So yeah, do that.
I appreciate
Support him.
it so much.
But Christina said I miss
Excellent,
church
man.
so
Thank you.
much. Me too.
And I'm waiting for my Texas hat too.
I got you. Looks like Jose's gonna come visit you too, man. Jose, when for sure.
Oh yeah.
When Leonardo comes out here, Jose, you got to come up and we'll have tacos, enchiladas, and some tamales. Marty, roll them R's, boy.
He told me that he's been sitting.
All right, hey, we love you guys. I'm gonna end this live because it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to sit here for an hour to download it. But,
Okay. Man.
well, no, I'm just messing with you. So we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for being on the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is always fun when we get together and have a convo. My best friend out of California, Leonardo.
Co-host, just throwing that word out there.
Co-host. It should basically just be a co-host. Let's do it, dude. I should have you on next week. I've got a pastor on that just wrote a book that is incredible, and I think it'd be fun to have you ask questions from a different perspective.
Let's do it.
Dude,
I'm down for.
Let's talk about it. Let's do it. All right.
Yeah.
Jose, man, always good. Thanks for hanging out. Ashley, thank you. Della, Adam Mobley, thank you, man. Scorvidontis, that's a cool name. That's fun to say. Christina, thanks for hanging out. Jason, I think he went to bed. Kara, Cass, thank you. Maureen, all kinds of people. Liza, Brittany Fletcher. Brittany's a great friend. Christina already said One World Music. All of you, everybody, thanks for hanging out. We always have a blast getting to do this. We have fun talking anyway. I'm just glad that you guys get to join in and be a part of it. But love you guys. Thank my co-host Leonardo for the convo. We'll be back soon. But you guys have an incredible night, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks Samsung for awesome phones.
Dude, your Samsung killed it tonight. I'm proud. I'm proud.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Later, guys.
All right, see ya.